So yeah, so let's look at it conceptually first. In terms, so what do you guys think when you think of queenside attacks?
I have a heck of a time with them. Hard time. I don't never
From
know
the
if I'm supposed to
attacking or
Yeah.
defending against them?
I'm sorry, attacking. Yeah, like
Just to try
attacking.
to
Yeah,
carry them
like
out effectively or
B
what?
pawn, A pawn. I don't know. C pawn. Like I don't know what I'm doing a lot of
Right,
time.
it'll be good to have some models here. Well, let's
Yeah.
look at, let's, before we look at, several of these games I mentioned, but basically, yeah, there's so many ways to go about it. Those are just kind of, when I make a study, just kind of the phrases that would typify this type of the different ways you do it. I like the dragon tail one, that's fun. So it's
Nice.
kind of like you're basically that's gaining space with your pawns on the queen side. And then there are ripping open lines, there's winning stuff on the queen side, there's invading through the side door. And then it'll obviously come out of certain openings, but it doesn't have to. It's just, you're looking for opportunities to win. It doesn't matter if it's on the king side, the center, the queen side. As I mentioned in the email, a lot of times it'll cascade. Yeah, so those are the most interesting. It just shows you, you can't have tunnel vision there. So it just shows you how interconnected the board is. But just in general, yeah, it'll be something on these three pawns, right? A, B, or C, and it'll either be advancing them or utilizing open lines. So even like just beginning with the dragon, just the basic setup of a dragon, now open or closed actually. But right away, when you see the structure, what's the main difference in terms of open lines for white and for black? Just by virtue of this trade of the C for the D pawn.
Black
I feel
has
like
okay. Go ahead, Leah.
I feel like in this formation that white has more, it's more open for white and there's more movement, whereas the king is, on the black side, it's more, there's less opportunities for movement, and the king is it's vulnerable on the EA diagonal.
You mean more so? Well, right, there's not C3. Like there's not the equivalent of C3. You have bishop D7. There's like a canal attack actually where this comes, like knight F6, bishop B5, or knight C. Yeah, but the interesting thing is in terms of structure, black in the Sicilian has more center. Yasser Sarawan, I was looking up the free lectures on Chessable, and he has a lecture, basically I think it's on YouTube too. He has a lecture where he's arguing that black is better because the pawns are with more in the center, black has more anyway. So, but remember, black can push. So the thing is, at first, yeah, white has more space, white has better development, they have knight out, they have both bishops open. So it's kind of, it's a trade-off. Black does get more center. Sure, I would view as compact. Black is compact in the Sicilian, but white has free-flowing pieces, free development, easy development. But what do they do with it? That's the question. Usually they're trying to attack on the king side or something, but black would attack on the queen side. Now, as for the specific lines, that's the central structure basically and development. Nikki, what about lines?
Oh, I was just gonna say, maybe like the semi-open C file.
Yes, exactly. So we talked about, space by virtue of structure, but also lines give you space, right? It's about piece mobility. How much piece mobility? That's what it comes down to. So black has a half open C file or semi-open, right? White has a half open D file. So immediately black already has effectively a queenside attack in the making, because usually they're going to go rook C8. That's indicated. The rook belongs on C8. Maybe then goes to E8 or something, or maybe rook FC8. Like if you're trying to attack. Well, funny enough, it'll be a queen side attack against the king effectively. So it's kind of like a king side. It'll be opposite side. That's different. We had another class on that. But I'm referring to not going after the king. That's the thing. It's more complicated. It's more nuanced because you're not just shoving your pawns at their king or swinging your pieces around to fly at their king and flash attack or something. It's more nuanced because you're just trying to not even win the C pawn. They could play C3, and if you can win it, great. But you're trying to put pressure. You're trying to rip open lines. So, for example, let's just look at different structures. So, let's say they do play C3. Let's just put some random pieces out, right? Just give you a sense. Let's say we have something like this, and then we'll give white some just castle, a few moves each. So let's say you're trying to attack this, maybe they eventually play this, but then in the future, it's just, again, let's just give them a few random moves. So in the future, oops, they ate the pawn. Okay. So something like this, we're both developing, right? Okay, but in the future, basically b5, b4. So you can, well, if nothing else, you grab the c4 square. You might hop a knight in there, but also you can tear open lines by eventually going here. You know, watch out for this. But you know, it's a basic idea, right? You want to get this in, and if you'll see games like this. But yeah, you might have a rook on the B and C files. You have pressure, and then if you go to b3, do you guys know what a minority attack is?
Yes.
What's the minority attack?
God, OJ.
Huh?
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's like when you're like basically giving up your 2 pawns against the 3 pawns, like on the white side, like especially in the Queen's Gambit. Like the 2
Right.
pawns.
There's
that
actually
are-
gonna be a first one like that. And sorry.
Oh, that's all. I was just rambling.
No, go ahead. Anything else? Two against
No,
three. Well, 2 against 3. What about 1 against 2?
oh, I guess the same. I guess.
Right. It's sort of just cancels it. Yeah, I mean, now it's just fewer. And there's a famous Capablanca. Oh, I should include that. Or at least I'll note that. It's in the Capablanca. It's the one where Capablanca beat Lasker in 1921. And he does this really nice exact same thing. This structure, and then he isolates the B pawn. So I think it's toward the end. I think it's game 13 or something. It's just Lasker's being crushed. But you know, it's the twilight of Lasker's career, and Capablanca, you know, at his peak. But yeah, it's really nice idea. So you can use this minority attack. You create the B pawn, or yeah, maybe you give them.
I think I've seen it.
But you can open up lines. You can maybe try to win the A pawn, and then hey, you've got the 2 central pawns. You can make a pass pawn yourself at the time. Uday.
I think
Someone
Leah
else?
has a question.
I think I've seen the game.
Yeah, that's a nice game. I'll try to find that one. And Leah?
She said, when is it better?
When
to
is it?
cast-" Go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
my
I
question
mean,
was,
it depends on the position, of course, but usually white will, like in a dragon, a lot of times, or against a Sicilian in general, white will often castle queenside. Again, because of that lead in development and this central play, the half open D file. Well, again, let's just put them, we'll just put some stuff back, but just in general. So because of the half open D file, it would be sensible. Yeah, okay, we're not going to give black that much of it, but yeah, you get the idea. Because of this, you immediately get the rook there, and you can throw stuff at the king, especially in a dragon. It makes a lot of sense because white wants to immediately throw stuff at the king. So white will often do that, but a lot of times it's because you get your rook on the D file, or maybe it's like a queenless middle game. You trade queens, and the king ends up on D1. Okay, black quickly castles queenside. So a lot of times it's because you want the rook on D8. The Morphy's opera box game, the rook immediately comes to D1 to launch this continuous vicious attack against D7, ultimately mating on D8. If you guys could think of Morphy's Night at the Opera / or opera box game. So yeah, a lot of times because you want quick mobilization, you already have a lead in development for white, because remember, black C5 is not bringing out any bishops, and they have the second. Already white has the first move, so it's slowing black down in Sicilian. So it makes a lot of sense in Sicilians. Now, if black's equal development, yeah, you have to justify it, because keep in mind the king is actually a little less safe on C, generally speaking. Well, we see this here. The king often has to play B1. You could create a normal castle position, but he's more centralized. You don't want your king in the center generally, right? So that's a problem too. And yeah, sometimes it's just less. It's more vulnerable sometimes. Yeah, so it's a risk. It's usually a risk. But just, yeah, obviously it depends on the position. Does that make sense?
Why is it more of
Yes.
a risk? What are you saying?
Why is it more of a risk?
Yeah.
It's generally viewed as a little more dangerous, generally speaking. Well, one thing is the king on C1 or C8. You castle to get your king out of the way. Well, your king here could be subject to attacks on this diagonal, on file. Maybe C3 pawn is pushed. There's like all these cool mating patterns where, you know, the ones where you sack here and like the bishop, you sack your queen, the bishop mates, and you have this kind of, you know, this type of diagonal mate thing, you know. So it depends. There are a lot of tactics against it. So just keep that in mind, you know, because if you can provoke this somehow, mostly because the king is more central.
Which bishop sacrifice again?
There's a
Sorry,
famous, just again, we're just looking at things very rough.
You mean the last one?
Huh?
The Lasker double bishop sacrifice?
No, not the Lasker one. No, that's like a here and here when they're like this. But no, it would be that's here and here. It's with a bird. Funny enough, I played the bird Every time I played the bird, I think it was 6 times, it worked. The one, yeah. So I kept on getting white basically in the matches, in the over the board matches. But the bird's a great opening. But that's one of the most famous bird openings, bird games. Just that's another thing with Lasker's double. Definitely got to know that. Sacks on h7, queen takes back on h5, the knight, sacks on g7. That's a cool game. Then rook lifts. But there's a pattern. Where would it be exactly? Let's something like this, and then there's a bishop available. So it'd be like this. You guys know this one?
Yeah.
No, there needs to be another bishop here or something, right? So yeah, and then you take and then you mate like that. So you have stuff like that if c3 is played. There's a famous Morphy game. You guys ever seen the Morphy game where he lifts the queen, swings laterally, hangs itself on a3, but I think they can't take because of the mating pattern. It's a cool game. It's one of Morphy's most famous games. Yeah. So you got to know more. Just look up chessgames.com and some of the best. Just look at the top 10 games. You'll get really some of the most famous. All right. So anyway, that's queenside attack. Yeah, but the king is there, so it's different. It's an attack on the king. Happens to be on the queen
what's
side.
your tactics rating on chess.com?
Yeah, funny enough, yeah, so I saw this guy, he's like 3,200. I'm like, all right, I gotta try and catch him. So that was like 2,800, and I broke 3,000. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try again. And then last night I got to around 30, 50 because I was trying to warm up. But it really, at that point, it doesn't get that much harder. It's just
yeah, exactly. I was looking at that.
Well, what's yours?
Mine, I think 2,800 something, but like I only get 5,000 a day. So.
Right, you have to do it quickly to get more points, and it's more like how accurate you are, because you have to solve it quickly, and if you lose one, you lose like 15 points, right? Anyway,
yeah,
you
like,
know that. You got to understand that. But you have to understand
right?
these structures we're talking about and the plans. What's that?
You have like a diamond account because of your title, right? So you get unlimited.
Yeah. You have to have. Yeah, right. As a title player, you get diamonds. You can do lead chess though too. All right. So anyway, that's the dragon scenario, and then just to give you one more quick sense, and we'll look at the games. But let's say you're like this. So usually I go knight c3 for close Sicilian. Actually, well, I guess technically, if then you go knight c3, technically black can go e5 and stop the break. So yeah, if they or for example, if they don't go, knight f3, if they don't commit to d4, black can go e5 to stop d4. But basically closed is usually knight c3, knight c6, and then d3 or g3 and the bishop. So then anyway, black is going to start to push the b pawn. So black will have this kind of setup, bare bone structure, and then and then you have this hitting them hard with your dragon tail, right? So you might even go like this. I've had games like from an English as well, reversed, same position, reversed basically. So you hit him with it, and we'll see a Gelfand game, Boris Gelfand game like that. All right. So there's using your pawns to gain space, and ultimately, yeah, you can break through. So you'll see that. But a lot of times the queenside attack simply gives you space to maneuver, right? Just like in there's another one, King's Indian, one more. So let's look at it for white. Black goes for the king side. Okay, here's the structure. Black has played, like this, right? White has done maybe like this, right? Something like this. Yeah, let's say samish or whatever. So whatever it is, something like this. Yeah, let's whatever, something like this, typical, right? And then so maybe they're like b4, c5. So then white is breaking through because they need to distract black from their kingside attack, right? But this kind of stuff happens. So white needs to distract them. This is a queenside attack. So anyway, those are the main types. And then, but the fascinating thing that you're going to see is that white or whoever's playing the queenside attack will try to force some concessions. Now, a lot of times black will get that attack. So then you have to be a good defender because you're focusing on the opposite side of the board or the center. So you have to be a good defender and handle all this crazy stuff going on. But if you do, you often win the end game, or you're breaking through. So if this attack doesn't, whatever, some various versions, right? And so if this attack doesn't work out, so many different ways this can happen, right? But let's say white is flowing through. So if black's attacks over here, if their attack is not successful, then basically it looks dangerous though, right? But if this doesn't work out, then white will be crashing through on the queen side. So it's a risk for white to do this. Sometimes they try to run with their king, but that might not end well. Anyway, so let's look at the specific games. Okay, So we have how you can use a queenside attack to strike at the center and across the board. Now this is the Reshevsky. Let's move it down a little bit. This is the Reshevsky-Capablanca game. I usually like to watch Capablanca losing, but Reshevsky is pretty cool to watch as well. He was definitely one of the top. I mentioned we do a class on him because he was among the best, and he played champions through much of the 20th century. I think probably more than any other.
Yeah, he beat 11 world champions.
He what?
He beat 11 world champions.
Yeah.
Same
So,
as-
I don't think anyone's
same
ever.
as Carrot
I don't think
and
anyone's ever had
Carrot.
to be able to beat that many, but also just to be able to span that career.
No,
Right. Fortunately, I had a long career,
Carrot
but I
and
don't even know if it's that
Polgar
long.
have beaten.
Excuse me?
Judith Polgar and Paul Karras.
Paul Karras, they what? And Judah Polgar what?
They both have also beaten 11 world champions.
Oh, really? But I mean,
Yeah.
Judith's so much younger. I mean, that's surprising because Reshevsky was obviously much older, because she's still
No, they
like,
count
what?
like
She's only like 40s probably right now.
they count a couple of FIDE world champions.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they
a little bit
count
different. Yeah,
the-
because
they
there was
count,
like a
like, Vladimir
cluster,
Topalov.
and those were not like the greatest, right? Like Kalifman or something like that, or even Topalov is very, but there was these ones that had the title very quickly. So that's different.
No,
That's a
no.
little bit-
I think Topalov you can count because he was world
No,
number
he's
one.
very strong. No, yeah, for sure. But he had it for a little bit, but I mean especially the FIDE ones is controversial, and they didn't have it for that long. So you can't be like it's not tantamount to like looking at Fischer and Kasparov, you know what I mean? Like that's different than beating those guys.
Yeah.
And just different, Capablanca, Lasker, those are different caliber, I would say, for overtime. Alekhine. Anyway, let's see. So Reshevsky-Capablanca. So we have so we started as an Indian defense, but transposes, there we go, into again, like it could have been an Imzo Indian easily. Maybe he should have done that, might have been better, but for him, didn't work out well from this game. This is what Capablanca would do as white as well, knight f3, bishop g5, e3, but he wouldn't usually do this. This is like a positional variation where you exchange, kind of boring. Fischer did that against Spassky after Spassky committed to b6. So usually you don't want to take, but it's a positional, it's a slower variation. What's that, Nikki?
Isn't there a little trap in this little position? Like when you put the knight
There
there?
is a line. Which one?
Yeah, like I think before, what is it, like something like where you can
Knight takes d5.
yes,
Yeah, there's something with 94 hang the queen, right?
yeah, and then you could get it back with an extra piece.
Yeah, that wouldn't be quite in this position, but probably. Oh yeah, it's if white tries to win the d pawn.
Yes. that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I don't think I guess it's not here. Would it be here? Maybe it is.
I think it
Wait.
is. I think it is. And then
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Well,
and then,
you take. You're right.
yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
you're
that's
right. Yeah, good eye for that. And then you have to give the queen back,
Correct. And then you win it. Yeah.
and then you take back, and then he's got 3 minor pieces. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Read it too. So good call, exactly in that position. So basically, it looks like. So I don't think Reshevsky's going to fall for it, but it looks like you can
No,
take.
never
on, but
happens.
That's a little too greedy. You're going for a point.
Are you
You're gonna-
British by any chance?
Who?
Yeah, I was asking her, are you British by any chance?
Who, Nikki?
What? Me?
Yeah.
No. I'm from.
No, if
I'm
anything,
from New Jersey.
that's like a New England or like a New Jersey / New York area, right?
Yeah, New Jersey.
No, it's funny. The guy I played last night, I asked him at the end, I'm like, where are you from? Because he has like sort of a British accent. He said, I wasn't sure. Maybe he's like, like sort of European that ends up getting a British accent, like Northern European or something. He's like, oh, I'm British originally, but he sounded kind of like a New Yorker too. So he probably lived on the East Coast for a long time. So you got both accents.
So where are you from?
New Jersey.
Oh.
Hey, I mean, maybe there's an element of maybe it came in. All right, so takes.
I've heard
feel
people
like
from
there's a
Boston
between
sound like
Southern and
British.
Scottish somehow.
I've heard people from Boston sound like Britishers.
British, yeah. I mean, you got the old colonial. Maybe there's probably still some influence, right? Depends on which part it is. But okay, so takes e3. Should be 7. So just very straightforward. Let's get to the queenside attack part. Okay, so now he's bypassing. Generally speaking, that's not advisable. Well, funny enough, ironically, it looks like Capablanca is going to do the queenside attack, but Reshevsky is the one who does it. But you've given up tension in the center. A lot of times what this leads to is, and that's a nice bishop move, right? A lot of times what this leads to is like F3, E4. There's famous Steinitz game. Steinitz did that twice against Zuckertor in their first world champion, 1886 or something, right?
1886.
86, yeah, against Zuckertor, first one. So he did that twice, actually. Zuckertor didn't understand. And one of them as well, it was the other side where white pushed and he hits him with B6. The other one, he hits him with E5. So the point is you're giving up tension, you get hit by B3/E4. F3, and certain lines F3, E4. There's Nimzo Indian lines like that. So that's interesting in terms of structure, but especially if B3 happens, it'll turn sort of into a queenside attack in many cases, which happens here. So Reshevsky looks pretty good. He's active. There's still, so Nikki is not getting that D pawn yet, but there's pressure. That pressure is going to persist on D5. Like I said, we're going to play across the board. So we're always keeping that in our sights. Even if we play on, actually by playing on the queenside helps. Now we're giving up the, what are you going to do? We trade off the bad bishop, but hey, that helps us attack the D5 pawn. You either add an attacker, you remove a defender. No more bishop B6 to defend it. So interestingly, it's like, yeah, it would have been a bad bishop, but now it's also attackable. D5, and there you go. And so he's traded off one bishop. He gives up his bishop for the knight. Now we have a nice imbalance, and you can see how favorable it is for white potentially. You see why is it generally? Well, first, yeah, two reasons mainly. What are the two main reasons that you guys see, or whatever else you see as to why this is favorable to make that exchange?
White pawns, as well as black
pawn structure versus blacks. What do you say?
Yeah, because black's weaknesses are on light squares.
So by taking here, why is that? How does that affect this light square?
The bishop can't defend, but the knight could have. Right,
the knight was just directly defending. So we got rid of actually two pieces. I mean, there wasn't much you could do about this. I guess but obviously he's anticipating when he made. But I mean, what is he going to do? He could have gone bishop e2, but now he's playing actively. He's anticipating a trade's going to happen. But remember, you're getting rid of the bishop, and then you're getting rid of the knight. So we have this like two minor pieces get liquidated each. And now what are we left with? Well, it looks like a good one. There's pressure on d5, more pressure. Two, it's a good scenario for knights. Look at the bishop, he's biting on granny. He's not activating anytime soon. The knights are doing great. This guy is looking here, he's looking here, but we can certainly hop him around somewhere. So yeah, it's looking good for white positionally. So let's see how he outplays him now. Well, then you have your immediate b3. It looks kind of funny because you're in the line of the rook, but obviously your queen will take. But remember, he wants pressure on d5. So queenside, attacking the center by means of the queenside, right? But also the b pawn. This is kind of a cool move. It's a cool tactical move. I mean, it's pretty direct. No, yeah, it's very direct. Why did he play? Well, he's actually giving up the chance currently to open up the file, the B file, assuming that black doesn't take. Why shouldn't black take? Probably shouldn't take the pawn tactically. Why not?
Rook
B1. One of the rooks to B1.
Yes.
Look at that. Look at that. Actually, it's probably possible. But then he goes, well, there's a trade-off there. You choose which pawn. Choose which pawn you want.
D pawn.
Right. Well, I guess if you go here, yeah, he can. I was like, at first I'm like, well, he can guard the B pawn, but that's not relevant because what matters is the D pawn. It probably matters more. But he's guarding it anyway. Yeah. So you would just take it. Yeah, just take the pawn on D5. And I mean, you could take the bishop, but I don't even know if I want to take the bishop. Anyway, that's good. That's pretty good. He does have a passed pawn, but look at this. I mean, you could probably play E4 if you want to.
Yeah, but that looks a bit.
It's probably fine. You have a huge center though. So let's say you move your eventually move your knight. You can start steamrolling him. Don't do it now probably, but yeah. Oh wait, this knight, the bishop's hanging. So yeah, you can't really do that. But just structure, just in terms of conceptually what is. But yeah, in terms of concretely, you can't even do that right now. And now Yeah, it's just good. It should be good for white. Yeah, sure. Black has pawns over here. Happens in Queen's Gambit accepted a lot, where you black takes back, but white gets this massive center off in Catalan supporting the center. Yeah, so it's pretty good for white. White certainly is going to get initiative. It's going to take black a while to roll that pawn, roll the B and C pawns. So anyway, he didn't want to take it, so he goes back, which is kind of, I don't think he looked at B4. Although he does have a protected pass pawn, but we like the knight blockading it. Okay, now pretty direct. I want to take your A pawn. Well, there's a queenside attack. Happens. I've done that in the English too. I've gone queen A5 in an English to attack A7 because the rook abandons the A pawn. You're like, all right, give me a free pawn. Then I'm going to make it past A pawn later, most likely. Now he has weaknesses. So part of queenside attacks, I mentioned white against the Sicilian only times you do A4, A5. Start probing the dark squares there. Well, there it is, right? There's your breakthrough on the queenside. It's interesting how quickly it's kind of like a lightning queenside attack, right? It's like, what is he going to do? All of a sudden he trades, hitting D5, putting pressure on D5. 1, 2, 3, 4 moves, 3 moves. 3 moves, you're hitting A pawn, 4 moves, you're hitting A pawn again. Okay, now you're going to rip open the B file, no matter what, basically. I mean, I don't know about A5. Probably A5 looks kind of loose, and you get a nice space advantage. Might play B6 later. So he goes
Yeah, I was
here.
gonna ask about A5. Like, so if A5, then
That's a good. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Then what?
You can push B6.
I was just curious, like, what in the world?
You said
like, what-
B6.
Yep.
Well, then rook takes though.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Oh,
I meant-
no.
like-
Then you get to, again, we want the D pawn. It's actually pretty much the equivalent of giving up the B pawn earlier. You just give it up on B6
I
instead.
see. Okay.
And then you're gonna pick up the A. I think you win a pawn, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You end up winning a pawn ultimately, yeah.
Eek.
That looks pretty good. Yeah, you might win the C pawn too. So that looks pretty good. Or
Okay.
whatever. You want to go here? Okay, now I'm coming with the knight. White's pretty much winning.
You can't take that pawn.
No, you can't. It's taboo. It's taboo. So it's the same. It's exact and pretty much the exact same concept. It's just he's taking on B6 instead of B4. You're still getting D5. Probably more dangerous. Oh, and also C4 is loose. Wait, in that line? Hold on a second. Just interested. Wait, it was here, right? Wait, where was this line? Oh no, it was here, right? Oh no, the rook was already covering C4. That was previously. You could have, yeah. Now the rook's covering C4. Never mind. But yeah, that just looks pretty good. So that's possible to push. Oh, to what end though? To win the A pawn. You want to go back? Okay. Rook B5 / queen. That looks too much. It's too much. You're just waiting that's game. That's just getting
Yeah.
crushed.
Oh,
Yeah,
that looks-
exactly.
His-
Like, you get access.
There's your rigid light squared pawns.
Or
You just lose the pawn.
Instead of queen B5, I was thinking more like in terms of like rook B5, rook F B1, if it works.
Yeah, but no, the difference you can, but the difference is that you don't even have to give up anything. You just win a free. Oh no, my bad. Wait, hold on.
Rook goes there, yeah.
Yeah, they do have this. Let's see. Just experimenting with some lines, but yeah, you're right.
You could be
Well,
wrong
okay,
on that.
fine. Well, what if he goes here? And then you double, and then you probably get that pawn. Yeah, I mean, the point is that yes, you have to watch out for your B pawn in some cases. You probably give it to them in many cases, but they do not want this to collapse because you're going to get both pawns. Not only do you get two pawns, but you rush, but you're going to steamroll them, which is probably.
I actually don't think this works. I mean, you'd have to go knight D2 before, otherwise the queen can come in with check. Like
in this when previously.
Yeah, I'll give you a line. I don't know. For example, like
wait, when right now?
No, right here. Yeah. Rook D6.
This looks good to me. You don't have to do anything right now, but you're just building.
Yeah. Let's say we have a random move from black, like knight D6,
or even knight D7. You just take D5. Okay, let's say knight D6. But you're not obligated to do anything for white. You don't have to do. You can just keep building. You keep building.
1, 2, 3.
What's
exactly. What I'm saying is that rook takes A5 immediately. Rook takes. Oh no, my bad. The queen defends.
Oh yeah, because you're hitting A8. Yeah, you're gonna win the. Yeah, that's a nice line. You win the queen. So yeah, and you're guarding B1. No back rank mate, fortunately. Yeah, that's winning too. So yeah, this is just a winning. I think this is winning.
No, I
because
was thinking
because
that
black's
maybe I
position
was
is way too rigid. Yeah, and this is actually a nice
I
space.
was
You're
thinking
using
that
the
maybe
queen side to
the
get space advantage and to clear the square. Access laterally. That's what happened in the game. It's similar. Again, we have different iterations of it, but you see this is the nice queen. This is just another version of that queenside attack. You just land that thorn pawn, get that thorn in their side, literally in their side, and then you work laterally. So this is a perfect example, really, of a queenside attack. And we'll see another version of it, but this is very clear cut. You have a nice pawn, and sometimes that pawn anchors in a knight, like knight b5, c7, or whatever, or a rook. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways, but keep in mind that's the side door. Side door, you can mate them too. Go for a mating attack, is just tie them down with the B pawn. So you either win material, you invade, and then once you invade, you win material, or you just crush them, just flow in and get a mating attack, or yeah, it's just bad. You overwhelm them. What else were you looking at, Uday?
yeah, I was basically looking at the fact that like after rook takes, if the queen did not defend the b6 pawn, we could have played a rook takes b6, the black could have, and after we took the rook and the queen took that rook on b6, knight takes d5 would be made because of
It
queen b1.
would be my knight takes b5 would be what? Would be
Like
great. You said
mate
great. Yeah, and that's
mate.
the line where you're getting. That's the line where you're cleaning up the two pawns here. You're at least joining a pawn.
Yeah, but like but if queen takes b6 happened, then knight b5, you couldn't take the knight, you couldn't take the pawn on d5 with the knight because of queen b1 check at the end. Queen b1 check.
Oh yeah. If both trade, and well, let's make it okay. How would this happen? Well, he can't take yet. You know, if we get a free move, then maybe we just play like h3 or g3. Yeah, probably g3 to go king g2 later. Little grandmaster maneuvers, g3, king g2, get your king on the second floor. You'll see GMs do that. If there's nothing immediate going on, they do these little tightening moves like that, and then you'd have a nice clean win of a pawn. But look at the lack of coordination as well. Like, what is this knight doing? What is the bishop? They're purposeless. They're completely purposeless. They're just defend.
No,
This looks at
actually
b6. You don't have to give him. Yeah, that's the only thing. You're not going to give him that anytime soon, unless it's favorable. That's the thing. You're under no obligation to do anything, and I don't think this is good. That just looks like a very bad version. Oh, and by the way, you're still going even worse. You're guarding. Yeah, so it's just crushing. It's just crushing.
I really
no,
like what you
actually,
said
Point is,
about
it's very strong. Very strong. I bet you computer will see white is like, computer will be like, I bet you white's like way up. Look,
Mm,
almost +3.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's just really good.
there's no need
Domination.
Yeah, and I like that you're saying that you don't have to do anything. Like you can
Yes,
kind of just
exactly. The
That's-
threat is greater than the Nimzovich, the threat is greater than the execution, right? Actually, that's what basically won the game last night. I was getting in time pressure too. I'm like, you know what? I don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna retreat my knight. And then his bishop was hanging and there's a pawn behind it. I sacked the pawn, but I got the pawn back and I started. Then he had a terrible, I'll show you guys the endgame later if we have time, but he had a terrible knight versus, it's actually the last one on here, but it was a terrible knight versus bishop endgame for him. Terrible bishop. Like literally the worst you can get because all his pawns were on dark squares. So he couldn't do anything. Anyway, so that was fun. But yeah, you can get
actually
you get inspired by these games and you carry out the same motifs that they're doing. You know, the waiting moves, the queenside attacks. What's that?
There's no need for g3 king g2 because in any case, after you take the pawn on a5 with your rook, and rook takes a5, like rook takes a5, rook takes a5, queen takes a5, b6 is defended by the queen. So
right. No, but here's the thing in terms of the threat is greater than the execution. Look at black's position. They can't do anything. So the thing is, you can kind of take it at will. Also, if you take this, well, maybe you don't care about that pawn. Maybe you just want the rook to be bad, and you're more interested in keeping pieces on the board and going after this pawn. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? You have various versions here, various ways to play this. But g3 is certainly just a useful move. You can't go wrong with it, all else being equal, unless you needed this now. But it's a nice GM technique. Throw in GM. No, not even king. You don't need king g2, but at least do g3. King g2 is nice because no one's touching you there, and no one's going to touch your king. And if you go h3, keep in mind if the bishop's on dark squares, theoretically you want your g pawn to be there because you can't tuck. If you tuck your king and they can't touch the king on g2. So just keep that in mind. Usually, but the bishop's not going anywhere. But just keep that in mind. Usually you'd rather play G, just makes sense logically. You want G3, King G2, you know, block their bishop, you can't touch it. Okay, so anyway, let's see what happened, but this is interesting sidelines. But you see, there's just another version of the attack that he can carry out. That's if he chooses to bypass and make a thorn. It's another way to win. Okay, in this case, but you see, you've made black passive. Better pawn structure means better pieces, right? See, well, the rook was already, well, the bishop's worse because of the pawn structure. The bishop here, you made the exchange, the pawn structure makes him bad, it's fixed. That's the idea of this line. A lot of times they'll take in this exchange variation, a lot of times they'll take immediate on f6, try to outplay the bishop. So what's going on? If the pawn takes, then you trade, see that? Trade, take, no more back rank mate issues here because you haven't brought up the other rook. Okay, now we have a target on, well, he can attack a2, we can attack b7, but look, do the math. He has one, if you just calculate, he has two. We have one a target, he has two target, and we're already guarding with the knight. So if you just add it up, you're like, look, I have more than you. I have more to attack than you do. And I have better mobilization. So it should favor fundamentally, or mathematically, basically, it should favor white. And just the principle of two weaknesses. White, black only has the a2 pawn to look at. Just keep that in mind too, intuitively. Okay, a4. So you see now it's even, it's just nice there. It's nicely placed. And we're making sure we're grabbing the b5 square. Now that okay, now let's come in more. Why not? Provoke f6 to weaken his position, right? That's actually what he does. So this is interesting, speaking of across the board. So he's thinking, hey, maybe he wants to go f5. He's kind of flirting with that idea. Watch out for e3 though, that's the only drawback here. But yeah, it's not happening yet, but you have to be a little careful. It's kind of, I think he's playing a bit provocatively, but it's the kind of thing where you don't quite have enough here. You have some good stuff, but it's not enough to win yet. So let's include something over here. That's what Capablanca is. He's using Capablanca's tricks against him. Capablanca would always do that. You know, he's attacking one side, let's get some concessions. That's what he did in the last game, actually. Gain a little kingside space, then we can swing back and forth, and you'll see the king gets exposed in the end. Yeah, Uday?
I was thinking this idea would be nice, like rook b6 combined with f5 and f6.
Yeah, if you can do it. He's going to play f6 himself, but then he's going to soften his structure. But then actually you might still hit him with f5 later, you know? So yeah, f6 though. Right, g4, hitting the weak point. And now actually he's going to reroute his knight, it looks like. Okay, he gets his h3 in. He's playing, that's the thing, like he knows he's good. See, this is where you sit on the position. You're patient. What does black have here? Nothing. You have to acknowledge that. When your opponent has nothing, like look, if you had the black pieces, give black a few moves. What on earth is black going to do here? Can you come up with anything? Oh, attack e3 maybe. That's it. You just guard. What's that?
Push b5.
Yeah, but you're not getting it. Yeah, that's the thing. You got all your forces. You got four controlling b5. He only has 3 if you push it. So it's like you just, yeah.
b6 rook b7.
If you need to, you can play knight b5 trade. Then I think you may have done that. Yeah, you can play knight b5 to trade knights. Rook takes back, hitting d5, and you'll see he does a nifty little queen maneuver to f3. So yeah, it's just good. It's just good. But the point is, black doesn't really have anything. You have freedom of movement. He's tied to the weaknesses. Now there are 3. You see what he did there? That was nice. So he's provoked by provoking f6. He has a new target, and also the king becomes a target after these weakening moves, right? May win these with like check or something. So more tactical. So it's positional weakness / tactical weakness. What's that?
What did you call nice again?
Nice maneuver.
Like the
This is key. This idea.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
That's gonna be nice. Yeah. That's like the straw. That's the final straw. Because then well, what he's gonna do is he's gonna hit him. He's gonna hit. That's where that's where you're hitting center and laterally. See, look at the geometry there. And then once you win this, it's a very nice finish. Oh, what else did you say?
Yeah, but then you have to defend a4.
Well, you have to look at things in perspective because first of all, you're holding a4. Even if you lose a4 eventually, by that time, you wouldn't do it on, you wouldn't do it unless you're ready. But this is collapsing. Like, you remember, B4 for D5, that was good for us. If you get D5, you probably get C4, or you're going to hit E7. You know what I mean? It's just too much for him. So, and
Yeah,
as you mentioned, we also have this. So just sense the power. You got to sense the power of your position. You don't need a rush. You just don't need a rush. It broke up a bit. What did you say?
Yeah, like why not be clinical, maybe or rook a1, and then why not be clinical and go for rook a1 and then queen f3?
No, we don't want to be clinical because we're trying to attack. Think of it like this. Think of it like this. No, I see what you're saying, but think of it like this. Your opponent is tied down. That's one of the virtues of your position. He has the weak structure. So because of his weak structure, his pieces are tied down and therefore worse. So why are we going to make our rook worse? Our rook's happy. And that's combined with this. So we're going to be look, the default is to be as active as possible. We want him to be as passive as possible. This is, again, calculation. This is abstract, sort of abstract. It's calculus. It's like probably the computer does this too. It's like weighting things. So right now our rook is worth more in here. Our rooks are worth more than his. A rook on A1 is not worth necessarily more. You see what I mean? So make your pieces the greatest value. Forget about A4. You're already holding it, but you'll just have to calculate when you're ready, hard calculation, but sort of soft calculation of weighting, of evaluation. We don't need the rook on A1. Does that make sense? If you need it, fine. But that's not I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try not to do it. Does that make sense?
Sorry.
Yes.
I don't want rook A1. If I need to do it, fine, but I don't want to be clinical if I don't need to be clinical. Now he's being clinical, as you might say, in terms of his nice maneuvers. He has a pretty tight position. Again, I see this position. I say, look, that's my only concern. He voluntarily did that, probably to provoke things. Because the point is, he's weighted out. He says, look, you have way more weaknesses than me. A4, sort of. I don't really care that much about A4. I do care about E3. But look, he found this nice maneuver. So when he does this, then somewhere over here, I think it was E2 or F2. When he gets here, he's holding it very easily. He can go king F2 if he wants. Point is, this is held easy. Actually, the king does come out later, you'll see. But he holds this while attacking. So he's being clinical, and look what he's done already. He's been very, I guess you can call it clinical, but nice and tight, nice and precise, precision. And
You know what a knife
is?
I just noticed that like the only piece which can really attack E3 is the queen. So you could just go king F2 instead of defending.
That's what I'm saying. No, but yeah, if you need to. But the thing is, again, if you need to, he does it later, right? I think he does it like way later. But the thing is, if you already know, you want to be as parsimonious as possible, as efficient as possible. If you already know that your queen is gonna, but yeah, if you have time, sure. If you need it, you might win your knight too. Who knows? You're right. You actually keep that in mind. You might need tactically, you might not want that. Because you don't want to get your knight trapped, right? Keep that in. Maybe because the queen goes. Yeah, watch out. So, but yeah, that's where we're going to queen E2 to F3. But here's the point. Again, do what you need to do. Hold your position. He's doing what he needs to do prophylactically to secure his position. Simultaneously, he's creating as much attacking power as possible. So there's a lot of instructive points in the way he's playing. But I'll show you now. You'll see. You'll see in the you'll see him maneuvering. We'll see what the G knight does, but you'll see how he handles the knights. But he's always going to be outplaying the bishop. It's not theoretically a bad bishop, like per se with pawns on locked on E5, but it's a very we're restricting with our own pawns. That's actually part of the reason why he might have played F4. All you got to do is, but keep in mind, he knows he can handle E3. But you have to make that judgment before you just throw F4 at them. Don't just recklessly play F4. He's calculated in terms of possibilities, not in terms of every move. Does that make sense? Huh? Does that make sense, Uday?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Does that make sense? In terms of the way you calculate, it's calculation, it's weighting it. And like also generally speaking, you can be very rough here. And because you just have to know, look, I know what can he bring to bear. I know he can only bring his queen to bear in anytime soon. He's not going to like double up, even if he does. And even if he does, I can easily guard it with two pieces. Queen one, but the thing is, he sees this really suave queen maneuver to f3, and then king to f2. But yeah, the knight, watch, oh, that's because knight h2 and knight h2 is possible. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So remember, it's a mindset issue. It's about your mindset. The mindset tells me, no, I don't want to play rook a1. Therefore, well, it would be way down the list of candidate moves. Does that make sense? Okay. So knight g4, queen d7, h3. But yeah, it's really important. There's a lot in this game to dissect. Okay, he voluntarily goes to f2. Well, it's not doing anything anymore. Fine. Okay, oh, now he goes to attack the bishop, but now we have a reason to go there. I mean, I guess you can consider rook b6. Okay, now he does your move sort of with tempo, to be fair. Okay, now we're starting maneuvering this. Although I wonder if I don't know, he doesn't stay there. He goes to b2 later. He doesn't want to stay there, but he's just tempo. It's about tempo while he's establishing this. Okay, now we're willing to trade. Why do you trade? Because you want to boil it down to a better knight over bishop. Yeah, the same thing came up in my game last night where I utilized that concept. Just get it down, boil it down to your superior pieces in the end. And then I ended up having a rook and knight versus rook. So you still want to have that rook to attack maybe. And look at this. This is perfect though. See? He gets this. He maneuvers his queen. Look at this position.
Nice.
So again, he began with his queen. Well, it all began with c4 actually. And then remember, we hit him with b3. But this alone wouldn't have been enough. He needs that. Remember the pressure on the b file. What did that do? Look what it led to. This passive rook. Just that, and the other one's doing nothing was over here and stuff. So because of the queenside attack, if nothing else, yeah, you have the lateral attack. But if nothing else, you've been able to tie his pieces down, creating more value for your pieces. So your pieces have, again, more weight. This knight might be worth 3.5. This is worth like 1 and 2 points in terms of what it's carrying right now. Does that make sense? Well, if it wins a pawn, it's certainly worth a lot, right? Then you're gonna have 3 + 1. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, roughly speaking, but I imagine the computer would do some kind of weighting like that too, in terms of what made him better. I think more like a human in that sense. So rook g8, rook b2. So then we come back.
What's the plan now? Double up and go rook b5.
Yeah. Just attack try to win d5. And maybe make favorable trades where this is just, well, again, one more nice point I want you guys to find. Again, great. This is perfect. I'm not going to say it yet, but I want to see if someone can find this idea. He actually goes here. I don't think he's staying there. Let's see what he has in mind with that. Oh, I think maybe to hold, he's still holding, yeah, like I said, we'll give up a4 if we need to give up a4 when we're ready, but we'll have to calculate that. So first he holds it. Little prophylactic move, I guess, just in case there's like a e3 check, just get away from all that, get away from dark squares, where the bishop is. Oh, sorry, I made the move. But yeah, see, this is what, okay, tell me why g4, but this is what I'm getting at. Yeah, explain, I want to explain. Why do you guys think g4 is such a good move?
To attack the king.
To what? Attack the king? So, but what's,
Like,
yes.
not just that, but you can open up more lines, you can infiltrate from there. It's basically creating a bigger weakness, or another weakness.
Sort of weakness, or weakness / point of attack, whether it's weak or just like more lines you can use. So, but now we have a kingside attack. But see, it began, so what's the main lesson? Well, there's the lesson sort of encapsulated in this, see? Strike at the, so you're beginning with the queenside attack, / so you use that to tie him down and continue your assault on d5, combined with the bishop trade on f6. So that's been, like I said, that's there, that's permanent. That's understanding pawn structure. And now by doing this setup, you'll see how nice this setup ends up being, like a stonewall attack. But that enabled this pressure over here, f4, g4. G4 itself, when you can pry, you have a locked up pawns, it makes more sense than how to pry it open. And funny enough, he has queen h4 check, but it doesn't matter. You just go king g2. Doesn't do anything. You know, now he does have a check because your king would just go here and your rook can come. Yeah, but look at this. It's not just about, and also look, it's better structure. You've just traded off an H pawn for an F pawn. Point is now, again, very similar. He's using Capablanca's own tricks against him of across the board play. But what actually Capablanca is a little different. Usually what he'd do is he'd have it, but he'd usually swing back and forth to make his opponent's punch struck. He was really good at that. He would just a signature of his play. Okay. But you can just see, you know, real nice and tight. And again, no rush. Let's cover. And there's king f2. We come back now. We can play rook h1 as well. But you can see that we can use the H file to attack. We can lock it up with G5, exacerbating the bit, even though you usually want their pawns on dark squares, but you can stick your pawns on dark squares too. Either way, the bishop's bad. He's tired. The bishop's tied up. Huh?
Why did he go to G1
Instead of G2?
Why did he go to G1?
G1 instead of G2? He's gonna go. I don't know if it matters tactically. Probably is the same thing. Because he's gonna go to F2 anyway. So he knows he's gonna go to the next. Yeah, tactically probably doesn't make a difference.
And he probably was gonna bring that B rook all the way over to H1. That maybe was a part of his calculation.
Yeah, but in terms of like, yeah, you can go. I think what he's getting at is like you can go there now to allow
Yeah,
this.
get him out of the way.
I think it just wasn't. I think it's just like, look, he knows he's not going to go there right now. Doesn't do anything yet, and he just. I mean, you can go queen, but he's. You know, he can cover. But the point is, he knows he's going to go to F2. That's his plan. It looks almost like more natural to go king G2, but it doesn't really. It's transposing to K-F2. Yeah, that's the idea. Just transpose. Now here's the thing. This is very interesting. When he plays G5, well, keep in mind, maybe he didn't want to see G5. Maybe he didn't like that. Probably. You could play rook H, but he's still no. You can't go rook H1, by the way, because you lose your rook. Can't do it yet. But yeah, he's not committing to this either. Because remember, your rooks are worth more than his rooks. He's not committing to rook B5 yet. Now, this is really interesting. He's actually losing his G pawn. See, there's pretty much. Well, he lets his opponent take it. But check this out. Why is he giving him this pawn? Well, I mean, actually, it's very. Why is he letting him take this?
To open up more lines.
Yes, and you can see the rigidity of sort of solidly rigid. Yeah, it's rigid, but it's very solid. This triangle thing, this stonewall attack structure. But what is it that White has now because of bishop takes G5?
Rook takes.
Right. So basically, it's Capablanca had to think about that carefully because,
Awesome.
and there you go. There's the value of keeping those really powerful rooks.
Yeah.
This rook is doing absolutely nothing. I mean, it's looking at A4 again. That's not really worth that much to look at this pawn. Makes you watch out for it, but it's easy to watch out for it because simultaneously you're attacking B6. But yeah, it's mostly just defending D5. You can't give up D5. But now we go, takes, hit the queen with tempo. Simply guard the knight. Now you have to it's cutthroat a bit now. Maybe Capablanca. It looks like sometimes what you can do though is if it looks like it's good for your opponent, but it actually works for you, you can bait them into that because it improves your position. Because yeah, they're probably going to want to take because they have a bad position. But you're sort of baiting him. It's a bait. He took the bait and he's letting him come in, but he knows there's no more checks. And he's going to sack the exchange, but he also knows that doesn't work on A4. So, and then also you give up the exchange and D5 falls. And now it's sort of just tactical, but I bet you computer, again, do you think computer says this is winning? Maybe not 100%, but I'm going to guess it says big event. What do you guys think?
I don't know. This looks scary to me.
But he knows he can. Huh?
It looks scary all of a sudden with that queen in there, but you're right. Like
right, exactly. But that's the thing. You allow, like I was talking about Fisher's ugly moves.
Nice.
You allow that because it gives you more. It's kind of like a gambit. It looks bad, like it might be bad. You might lose a pawn, but that gives you opportunity. So allowing this gave you opportunity. It's breaking up. Uday, it's breaking up. What's that? Uday? Maybe you guys, are you near a Wi-Fi? I don't know. This is breaking up. Can't hear you. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
No.
Okay, I heard. What's that? All right, maybe try in a minute because I can't hear you. So, but yeah. You think it's good? I think I would guess good. I like White's position. It's giving him a point.
I'd say somewhere around +3.
You were saying plus? Yeah, no. I think practically speaking, it's more than that.
No, sorry, I was lying.
No, yeah. I thought it'd be more. I mean, I know it likes White.
I would say it's
scary, but I know it's gonna
+3-ish,
I figured it'd be at least
because-
+2. But yeah, it's saying +1. But again, the computer, from a human perspective, it's worth more than that because it's very, very hard to hold this. White has a massive attack. Look at White's coordination to pieces. Now you have to be careful. You can't. Your king is open though. That's the only thing, Nikki. Right? In terms of imbalances, our king is pretty open, but can he reach it? Not really. You know, so that's the thing. But his king, yeah,
His
can't quite get
pieces aren't
so
harmonized.
it's gonna take a bit of time, but I think what's gonna happen is this pawn just probably falls. Uday?
His pieces aren't harmonized at all.
Yeah,
so he
exactly.
can't
Yeah,
attack.
so we've achieved harmony in our position. Our king is, I mean, both of our kings are behind pawns. We do, but we can't quite, we can't quite get to his king. He can't quite get to us either, though. All he has is a lone queen. We haven't moved the rooks, so we're still covering bishop. Watch out for that. If you move the rooks away or you trade off one, you actually have to be very careful about that move. So yeah, be careful for it. Don't go rook b5. That would be a blunder. I think rook b5 takes, and then game over. No, then you have to give up the exchange. That's probably not that great. You take d5. Yeah, we don't need that. Do it on your terms. But you see it builds up. Okay, fine. Now this is that's a smooth one. He doesn't, that's sophisticated. So he rather than taking the bait, I think black might have at least a perpetual actually. It doesn't look that great. I don't know. So rather than messing with that, he's like, I don't need that. Now I've pinned, now the bishop's pinned. Look at that. I still attack this, but the bishop's pinned. You can't move because this.
Black
So
have
we
a
just,
perpetual.
you said it's a perpetual? You
How
think
would
it's
black have?
Or just
What?
type it in because right now, just type it in
Yeah.
because right now, just say if it's perpetual or not, because it's not really connecting right now. It's not coming through. So we both have three
Hi,
pawns. Now
Leah.
our pawn, but look at the pawn structure. Look at the relative pawn structure. Ours are clustered.
Hi
So-
there.
Well, he's gonna end up tucking. Who left? Leah.
Leah.
See you, Leah. So king goes to d3 soon. So we're gonna actually use these pawns. It's really nice. It's a really cool concept. I think they call it Book of Sam or something. There's one of those names. I think this one's called Book of Sam, or one's another Sam I am. So rook a5. Okay, so well, the thing is, now maybe it makes a difference. Maybe he has queen b5. Well, here's the thing: he wants rook b4, bishop b4. He almost has it, but no, because you take f7, you mate. So now, now you're hitting the rook, and you actually probably can. It might, no, you know what? I think if he starts checking, you would tuck your king on f3. That's what I'm guessing. Looks fine. And then you can take c4. You can always come back around or whatever. You have a lot of choices. Yeah, I think the king is okay. Problem is though that the rook's.
I think that if he, at this point, if he, I don't know, if the queen moved to e5 checking him, then the king will go where to I don't know, back on the back rank, maybe, and then the rook comes down and check him again.
Yeah, well, oh no, well, he might have bishop f6 up in. Maybe he can, yeah, he can't go here because then rook h1's mate. Right, now I see what you're saying. Check, bishop, well, bishop would tuck back. Not quite, he didn't do it yet. We're not quite
Not
there.
quite.
Right now, really, he's just interested in winning these pawns. I mean, he's like, let me just take your pawns. I have 3, you have 2. I can start rolling my bow, but not only that, I have my end game insurance of 3 against 2, central pass, 2 connected pass pawns. That's way better than these. But also, yeah, you could just have a horse race them and win if you need to. But also, it's just you're going to probe his position with your pieces, which is how he wins.
You said a horse race and a win. That means that most people like to go into the end game, right?
If it works out for him, yeah, they're like horse races, right? The queen takes c4, the gambling chess type, the poker players, right? Rook h5. Okay, that looks scary. Boom, nice pocket right there, right?
Yeah.
That's why I remember. So certain aspects of games like this are memorable. To me, the most memorable parts are probably the rook b5 hitting d5. Like I remember that pattern in my mind, right? This notion of a queenside attack leading to this. That's why I looked. I'm like, oh, queenside attacks. Let's do this game. It's pretty much that. I forgot about bishop takes g5. Pretty much is mainly this idea and the king being tucked in the middle, and central pawns holding the king. I thought that's pretty cool. But you can take away whatever patterns you like. But I think the d5 stuff through b5 is very useful. Uday?
Alpha Zero also had a game like this.
You had a game like that, yeah. Yeah, and you could, so basically just because it's, I mean, okay, sure, generally speaking, you want your king to be castled on the side, but now that there are very few pieces left, I mean, as long as you have pawns covering them, it doesn't make a huge difference. It's just where can the pieces go? And over here, we're obviously open, but we did that. Ultimately, well, then our queen e5 check would have been stronger. but he ended up taking, so that wasn't as strong. But now we ended up getting this stuff. So yeah, it worked out for us. And then he finishes him off. Maximization of pieces. And this is smooth. Yeah, it's really smooth game. It's brilliant. It's one of his, probably among his best, maybe his best game. And then what happens? So he just won the bishop, right? I mean, there wasn't much to do. What was the last move? Rook d7. Oh, he's gonna double his rooks, right? Rook bb7, game over. Overwhelming force. But now what's the point? What's the point now? How do you avoid perpetual simply? All else being equal, it's easy. It's an easy win now. But just don't get perpetual. So how do you avoid it?
Knight f2.
That's it. 92, yeah.
Knight.
Queen f2, yeah, game over. And again, look at that solidity of our. So now we got rid of the d5 pawn. That was the only thing holding us back. Oh, and the f5. So you see what he did when he got rid of the f pawn and he got rid of the d pawn. So now suddenly his rigid structure becomes highly dynamic when he's ready. You should probably shove a d pawn, but yeah, you can use both. That would be great. But he's up a bishop too. And that's still coming. Game over. Instant. Now we can say plus 12 or something like that, or plus 8. Yeah. Okay. I should have gone with mine. I was thinking I should have gone with that. Anyway, the computer likes it. It's completely winning. Yeah, so you guys have any questions? I mean, just that game in itself is an excellent demonstration. I'll probably show you the other ones quicker because we really dissected that game. But I'll just flip through a few of the other ones just to show you where the queenside attack happened, how it came about, and why it was good. How they won. Someone said something.
I kind of want to see your game.
The queens. Well, okay. I'll show you the key moment. I'll just show you the key moment. Where is it? Wait, is it here? Oh, I didn't name it. Yeah, it's right there. It wasn't a perfect game, actually. I looked at it last night. Of course, the computer will.
Why do you like
Yeah,
f4?
It was almost 90%, but it was like, of course, the computer will be like, oh, you missed this. I missed a tactic. I kind of saw it maybe, but I was like down to a minute with 30-second increment. But I was like, you know what? I just have a move that'll go into a really good endgame, so I just took that. What's that? Uday?
Why do you like f4 so much?
Oh, it's a great attacking move. I mean, if you can get it, I like the English, but I've won 6 out of 6 games actually this year in the 90-minute games because I've learned it pretty well. It's a great opening. As long the only concern is f4 e5. You just have to know that. But yeah, I mean, look at the attacking. It wasn't perfect, but I'm playing like a Leningrad. Well, it's like a Dutch. You're basically playing a Dutch with a move up. I didn't know this line that well. I have to read the book more, but I had a sense. But I like the idea of Queen e2. Basically, you're just going to play for eventually play for e4. So it's sort of the thing is, Uday, you could play it like sort of a Grand Prix attack almost. And the thing about it is I like to try to mold the pawn structure to outplay my opponent. So, so that's why I play a hippo sometimes too, because I can transform it whenever I want. And I'll try to make a favorable transformation to outplay my opponents. That's where you can show your superior understanding and outplay them. So the point is, if I do something like c4 or d4, one, it's more predictable. They know what to do. So the good thing about it's good. It's a little risky. The computer says -0.2. So basically, computer says it's even already, essentially. But that's if they play perfectly. The point is they have to understand the position, which they won't. Statistically, it's likely they won't because they don't use it as much. What's that? They don't face it.
Yeah, it's like almost like an offbeat opening. Like not
Yeah.
like that. A lot of people just don't like know it that well. Like, and if you know it like deeply, then you're definitely gonna-
Right. And it's more legit than the Dutch, because the thing is you could play a Dutch, but people know the Dutch if they play d4. That's the thing. If they're playing as black, they're not really seeing f4 that much. If they play d4, they do see f5, especially in blitz games. So they've seen f5, they studied a line they like. Maybe they're not a d4 player, so maybe they're an e4 player, and they don't like this maybe. But here's the thing, position ends up being pretty nice. Watch out for that diagonal stuff. I don't know why he doesn't do much for him. And then I get e4 in. And then I'm like, okay, well, I don't see much else. But yeah, then this is fine. It's like a quasi-French. So Uday, it ended up pretty good, right? I mean, there's a lot of play here. But it ended up pretty good.
Could you go back a few moves? I'm sorry, I just kind of dozed off.
So yeah, the thing is I know English really well. So in the English, you might do the same thing. It would be like this. But the thing about that is in the English, I liked playing the English with f4. I just like it. It's something that suited me because I like playing the English, then playing f4. I call it the flying saucer setup. I like playing b3, and then I like playing e3, f4. So I'm like, you know what? I like getting an f4. Let's just, the only reason I didn't do it is because of e5. You could play f4, e5, e4 as a queen's gambit. But yeah, so I just liked it, you know, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try, and it worked out pretty well. I can always, and I know the English really well, so I can always flip around and go for the other flank opening. But yeah, this is more aggressive. And the thing is, you might get sick of, well, queenside attacks with the English, and they'll attack you and have fun attacking on the king side. So here you're gonna attack them, and they ought to know it. Yeah, they gotta know it to be okay. Now, a lot of times people actually, some of the lines, I remember in the book too, they do go 95 early, although it trades a lot. But I went for more of a avoiding trade. But I'm happy with this. Computer says even, I'm perfectly happy with this position, especially if they bypass. You go a4 and you gain, and you gain c4 for your knight. So that tends to be good. And your bishop can always reroute you, play c3 or something. So your bishop will be fine. But their bishop's really bad on g6. As you'll see, that's what this game came down to. So he plays c4, more positional play. So he's thinking, oh, this guy's trying to make a French, and he's trying to attack. I'm like, no, I don't care about that. Funny, yeah, I'm actually going more here, but I'm like, okay, we can attack there, but it's not really there yet. If he goes knight f5, I might go g4, but I'm playing c4 to put, you shift the pressure to d5. I was actually considering knight b1 to c3, make him worry about knight b5, but then you hit this and try to move the knight and stuff, and make him worry about d5, make him push so you gain access to e4 or trade. That's what white wants. That's great. If you get e4 and you're outplaying them pretty nicely, right? So he does this. Now, actually, I thought, I'm like, oh, wait. When I did that because I was thinking about something else. I was like, I don't need I was thinking about using my rook elsewhere. It's probably better to do the other one. I was thinking also maybe knight f1 and stuff. Then I realized I'm going to go to b1, some rerouting. But anyway, I'll show you guys the key moment though. But it's interesting too, like this came up. So it turned out this, I was like, you know what? I see that he could win my pawn with d4, but it's one of the situations where, huh?
Why is rook e1 a mistake?
It's not really a mistake. I mean, it just prefers, it actually likes it a lot. No, it wants to, because it wants to take on f6. But I don't like taking on f6. I mean, there's some line it gives. I mean, it's actually pretty good, but it's not that. Oh yeah, if it ends up being what the computer wants, okay, that's fine. But still, well, actually, even after the whole line, it says white is like slightly better. It's unclear still. I mean, there's a passed pawn. I'm not sure where it's going. But yeah, that's if I'm a computer, if I'm stockfish. So, and I liked this move because I kind of liked, also, if you're going to go for g4, you might have knight g3 or knight e3. But I said to myself, you know what? If I want to get back above 2200, I have to prove it. I'm like, I have to play a good game. So I was playing solidly, but aggressively. So I noticed this. I'm like, oh, crap. He can play d4, though, and then win the pawn. I'm like, you know what? Even if you give him the pawn, you have like knight g5, bishop h3, weakness on. So he's not gonna, you get 94 in too. Like he's not pushing his e-pawn. That's just a target. I'm like, you know what? Let him take it. And I got to keep more pieces. We haven't traded any pieces, just one pawn, right? So it's a very interesting game. But now I want you guys to find the queen side idea coming up. But yeah, I was like, maybe I should take with this. But then I'm like, I don't know about that either. It's like bishop h6. I'm not sure if I wanted to lose my bishop. And the thing is, his bishop gets to come out. So, but he kind of misplayed it. He began misplaying it. It doesn't like that move. It wants 94 first. Okay. Because he had bishop h6. But he wants the pawn, fine. Okay, let's attack that. He wants mate, no problem. But see, that's the thing. It becomes like a Benoni. You know, like Benoni structure where white pushes, black just did it now. It becomes like a Benoni, and that might give you a sense of the plan. A lot of times the Benoni, they want to get the knight on e5. Now I get the knight on e4. So it's a Benoni structure in a lot of ways. But I'm pretty happy with it because I have a target on e6 too, right? So and then here, and look at the bishop on g. I didn't really appreciate how bad the bishop is on g7. Now it gets worse, actually. Okay, so we trade one piece off. Okay, so what? Bishop g2. Funny enough, I was thinking about going knight f6, but I didn't really want knight f6. Or like, yeah, there's certain lines. I didn't want to do it because he gets 3 pieces for a queen. I didn't really want to go for it. There are certain lines. So I just reroute the bishop. Why not? And now you have ideas like, actually, the computer really liked bishop f4, which is natural. But I had, okay, what is the idea now? What is the queenside idea? You see, the thing is like, okay, white has a lot of pressure here. The bishop's bad, white's pieces are better. This bishop is not bad because the pawn is moved. This bishop's going to be great here, here. This bishop has pressure, can always go here. So white's pieces, again, they're better, right? This is a great knight here. This knight sort of, but we can attack it. So white has way better piece play. Oh, and look at the king side. Where are white's weaknesses? Just D3 theoretically. Look at black's weaknesses. They have a lot, right?
Mhm.
So in other words, I have compensation for the pawn, right? You see where are their weaknesses?
G6, H6.
Yeah, softened here. Definitely this
H6.
one. And this, yeah. But this king side's become weak. Like maybe you can even go here and here, something, provoke G5 or something. Yeah, and if you have it goes up, then probably, well, now it would be two, in this case, it would be two pieces for the queen. If you get a check in, sure, you get the check if he goes here, and that's fine. Okay, you have to watch, funny enough that you have to be careful, because then the bishop comes in and the knight wants to check, and yeah, you have to be careful actually, but
I don't think I would have been able to resist not doing that discovered check.
yeah,
if
but you
I
have to watch the
was-
knight f3 come. You have to
Yeah.
watch the knight f3 come. So maybe he could have provoked me to do it. He said he really didn't like king h8. He said he should have liked some queen movement. Yeah, the computer says now it's full compensation. And again, he has to play like really well just to not give me more compensation. So what's the attacking idea for white? You can play bishop f4, which I ended up doing. But there's another idea. What do you think is the other idea? That's because again, the point is he has weaknesses. What I was getting at, pressure here, great knight, safer. And again, this is safer than his. Can't really touch the king here. We can get to his king potentially. So what is the idea here that's gonna create real problems for him? Again, the theme of the class. And the theme of the banco a lot of times.
Some kind of
Or
rook
banco
A1,
/ Benoni.
B4 thing.
Right. You see how strong how strong. Once I thought, I'm like, what do I do here? Huh? Like, oh, B4 looks. I mean, I was looking at it earlier. I'm like, wait, that becomes. And if he goes A5, A3, B4 opens up more lines. But B4 is surprisingly strong. Little move, but it uncorks. The thing is, it uncorks the position. We already have pressure here. So if we open up the B file, then we can include the rook and have the open file maybe in our control. Have tactical ideas here, like taking and stuff. So suddenly, and the C5 pawns. No, he messed it up though. He should have taken the pawn, but he didn't want to isolate his D pawn. So he didn't want to lose that pawn. I was even looking at earlier, I thought about it earlier. I'm like, oh, what if I go here? He takes, I take, oops, knight f3 check. That's not pleasant. So I couldn't do it yet.
Right.
But then I'm like, you know what? The more I look at B4, the more I like it. I'm like, you know what? Let's just keep it modest. Just go here. I'm playing like a banco gambit. Not banco, Benoni, sort of banco later on, but no, it's Benoni. You have this same structure with black, and you play on the queen side. But we already have, again, there's a lot going on here. He doesn't really have anything though. Think about it. It's one of those positions, again, you have the luxury of time. The bishop is terrible. We've neutralized this one and can unleash this. The knight's not going anywhere because we have this cover. Watch out for d3. That's it. The only piece to worry about is the knight. Weak. So you can see he has a lot of problems. Suddenly I like my position a lot. See, he should have taken it. But here's the thing, he didn't want to take because he wanted to isolate his D pawn, and he wanted to double his rooks. I kind of figured he wouldn't want that. I mean, it looks bad for black because you can't double and you could come in with the knight. It fundamentally looks bad, right? I understand why he didn't do it. But then I'm really doing well now. It's just, yeah, see, now look at the queen.
Yeah.
So there's the queen side attack. So we combine, and now we have half open file, diagonal play, strong knight. So all the advantages are adding up, and I think it's a pretty good advantage. It's huge. Well, let's just say it's a big initiative. Every move now, initiative, right? So I felt pretty good. Just slide those pieces around, move more quickly, change the tempo, and you start to see the turning point of the game, right? But you can see we have rook b5 already. As you go bishop c6, the bishop gets loose. So trying to create options. I'm not sure why I talked myself out of the tactic. My time was getting low. So what I said in the puzzle, like a puzzle in the email, was to consider bishop takes e5. Is okay. Ooh, okay, again, main concept we've already discussed. Let's look at one more thing, and I'll flip through the endgame real quick. But just fundamentally, it goes back to our last game. Actually, should you take the knight on e5? Tactically and positionally.
What will you get out of it if you took the knight? because
Let's
the
see.
bishop is gonna take you right back.
No.
And what are you
Bishop
gonna get out
takes.
of it?
Let's look at the resulting pieces. First that. Also, let's look at the e file. If nothing else, we'll probably get the e pawn back. This is the stacked up pieces on the e file, right? The bishop becomes loose, so tactical weakness, pressure on c5. We have options of taking c5 maybe. Loosen c6, so tactical weaknesses all over the place. Looseness, right? Pressure here. If he ever takes this, we can maybe just take with the queen. Has to worry about rook. Well, rook's here, but has to worry about rook invasions, doubling, whatever. Anyway, oh, if the bishop trades, you also have rook b5 hitting. Yeah, lots of good stuff. But I mean, I have more than that. There's a lot going on here. But also positionally, think about the exchange. Think about the last game. You took on f6. Is it similar here? Imagine the piece imbalance. And just think about that bishop is kind of scared on e5 too. Because you have so many discoveries. You could even go like knight g5. I don't like that. But here's the thing, I didn't do anything too drastic. I could have. But think about the piece imbalance. How's that look? Look at the bishop on e5. First it's loose, but what about it? Look at it in general. Look at our, okay, we have
He's not
bishop
really
versus
doing
bishop. Huh?
He's not really attacking anything.
He's just a terrible bishop. That bishop, that's what I'm saying. I get knight versus bishop. The bishop loses for him basically. Because I get the pawn back and I enter the endgame. But yeah, that's why I saw this idea, but well, first of all, oh, it says this is actually a winning move, which is kind of cool. I ended up doing this idea on the next move, the knight retreat, which is really strong, but I had it says it's winning actually. I could kind of, it's amazing because this is hanging, right? Oh, and by the way, they can't even take this, I think. No, they can't take here. Oh, after I'm out, I did this move, but they still can't. So you're hitting this and you have more discoveries. It doesn't like it. Well, it's still better for me if it doesn't like it as much. But then you can't do this either because you fork this and this.
Hmm.
So they have to move the bishop. And then you kind of take your pick. Do you want this? I mean, I would take the g pawn. And then we're like, yeah, that's just terrible, right? And you have rook b7. So yeah, this is just winning. But yeah, I had knight f2. Let's just look real quick. Why does it win? It's just trading, really. It's kind of similar to the game, but something's better. What was better? It's just a better version. It's just bad, but it's quite similar to the game, actually. It's actually more complicated, but the computer sees this, whatever. Okay, so I figured I like this move, though, because I'm hitting g6, and you can't really do anything about it with your queen. I'm provoking g5, and I can still move the knight to hit the bishop. So actually, it turned out that, again, the retreat's pretty good. See, that way I preserved the knight. And again, we're just going to go with the knight. It likes me like almost a pawn up, but it's not decisive, but I really like my position. I'm very happy with this position because, like, again, look at the imbalance. Just imagine the knight coming back. What's that bishop going to do? And again, this queenside attack, like in a Benoni or a Benko, reversed. You push the B pawn, you trade. They have the isolated pawn, not isolated. I mean, target pawn on c5. If you don't have a c pawn, this happens sometimes, then you have a backward pawn to attack. But here it's just like a target pawn. Like I said, rook b5, knight e4. So you have a permanent weakness. d3 can't be attacked. They don't have a light square bishop to attack it. It's very hard to attack. Everything's solid. So I'm very happy with the position. And then that was good. When I now saying I'm up worth more than a pawn, but now I have a g4 threat. See that?
I see. So he was trying to double up and you're like, like that's not happening. Is that why he did that?
Yeah, and the other thing is that I don't think
to
he can do
protect
this.
his
I
bishop,
think you have rook b7 if he goes here. Well, he can toss in the check.
Oh, no. Yeah, I missed that completely.
I think
Sorry.
now you have, yeah, I don't care about this that much. It looks scary, but but he has to go. Then I think this wins. He can't go back and
It's
guard. You
pretty
take,
weak.
yeah, that's just because you're gonna take it with tempo, and then you can bring your knight in again.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that. That's terrible. So that's just win. So you can see this queen c, rook b7, queen c6 ideas abound, right? So it's just kind of winning now, and then this was correct. It doesn't like this. I think it likes queen h5 better. It's very, the point is it's very hard to hold now. But you see this in conjunction with b4. So you can see again, it's the same concept. You get that, it's kind of like that extra, that oomph, like extra ingredient that you need to finish it, right?
Like you said, like the across the board, like.
Yeah, exactly.
On
Like we
both
hit
sides here.
g6, e6, c5, b7. So yeah, queen f6. So now we're threatening it again. And by the way, we're stopping, so it's simultaneously stopping rook f2. And I saw this, I'm like, okay, I just take it anyway. I'm not afraid of that. Because again, what does he have here? There's nothing here.
Nice.
Wait, what if the rook moves? There's something else. Oh, a check looks tempting. Well, now you can, you force a queen trade, I think. He's trying to mate. Can you force a queen trade? If he goes here,
That's when the rook was over at f2, that would have been a mate pretty much, because
No, he didn't have time. He didn't have time because he can't. He goes here, you just take it because you have 3 guards. He only has.
Okay, he come down, he takes. He come down, he takes it. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, you have 1 defender for each of his attackers. So once
Okay, yeah.
you have 3 guards, he only has 2 defenders. Yes, you'd win it. So he doesn't quite have it. He's trying to come in and mate, but now you check him, and then you'll trade queens on G. Yeah, that's just up a knight easily. Just got to be a little careful. But here's the thing: you can. It's one of the situations like with the bishop covers. I'm sure there's many ways to win this, but you can probably just play like here at the
That's
worst.
what I would do. Yeah.
Worst case scenario. Yeah, you gotta be careful, but I'm pretty sure it's winning. Yeah, there's many ways, but at the very least you can do this or this, and this is covered, and then actually you can take this. Because then he can't mate you because you're in it, but you can mate him. Yeah, you do something that could win quickly. It's interesting because you have an extra knight, so it helps. Anyway, yeah, so he almost has stuff, but he can't do that. So he retreats. And then this is where I messed it up. No, I mean, I could have had a better win. I mean, I was like, I saw this, but I didn't quite have time to calculate. I saw some complication. I'm like, you know what? He can't take F3 because I take C8. Again, check doesn't do anything. This is hanging. So you just have to know, again, kind of cold-blooded moves, right? But you have to have faith in your own attack. But it's good enough because when he traded queens, I was basically winning. But yeah, so it was good enough. But yeah, I could have done queen C6. I think it says this. Yeah, I saw this because what was the line? Oh yeah, then he has triple, but then you hit the queen. It's pretty obvious, right? I'm not sure why I didn't do that. But yeah, anyway, this was good. That was my main mistake, really. But it was still like better, but got the pawn back. Hey, the E6 pawn finally falls. And the bad bishop, you see that this collapsing, bad bishop, weak pawn. So kind of everything. And this is important. So I'm trying to trade off one of the rooks. So I have just deal with 1 rook versus knight. So he shouldn't have traded because I didn't want to trade this for this. So if he had gone back, I would have had to like bring my rook over. It's still good, but not as good. So anyway, he had time. He had ways to minimum. Now it's just totally winning. Because you can maneuver whatever the computer's going to say what it's going to say, but it's winning now. Yeah, it's totally winning. And then he just gets squeezed. You end up, maneuvering a little bit, gain some time on the clock with the 30-second increment, and then just kind of invade. And then we're going to work both sides. So you get the bishop. So classic bad bishop, right? I mean, it doesn't get much better except unless he's completely entombed, but that's what you want. And the knight just chills on E4. Just cat and mouse a little bit, and then I want to go A6 maybe, and you can go like even rook B7 and some lines. But yeah, he has to work about the 2 wing pawns. So again, everything's a target. It's just too easy. You just have to, don't mess it up. Yeah, again, computer will have its faults.
Why? Why is that bad?
It wants me to check him. Some better line, some precise line.
It seems totally.
But even the precise lines are not that. Yeah, it's just even this is not that. Yeah, then you have to see this ahead of time. But whatever. This is a human.
Perfectionist like computer.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Yeah, honestly, it doesn't matter that much. It says +2 or +3.5, but it's good enough.
Okay, yeah. So it's just and these.
No, now it says +3 again, so it really doesn't matter. If he plays perfectly like a computer, maybe he sees a way the black can try to fight on more.
Good to me.
And that's game. Well, no, especially when he takes the pawn, where it goes here. Well, you're threatening this. No, he could have gone back. I think you at least maybe just take the pawn. You just take the pawn at that point. Yeah, let's see. Takes. Can't even attack you in another pawn. Yeah, it's just over. Wait, he goes here. Yeah, just cleaning up there. Oh, he can get this pawn. And then you just go there. It winning king of pawn. Anyway, yeah, it's too many.
Yeah, just too many.
So yeah, you can finally get rid of his, he gets to get rid of his bad bishop. It's too late. And this is just game. Oh wait, you want to go here. And then I just inserted this move.
Nice.
So his rook would go back, so he can't mess around. It wouldn't really matter, but may as well, right? Make him come back.
Yeah, it's insurance.
Yeah, just keep it smooth, keep it clean. And come back, then he lost it. And then he just resigned, he was about to lose on time. There's no defense to A7. And of course, the computer's like, no, go rook B7, so you can go down. But yeah, so, but you see it ultimately, look, queenside attack. Never had to take the pawn, but he was tied to it, made the correct trade. Kingside, sometimes what happens though is your central attack or queen, well, it'll make them make concessions. Then you just get a better endgame. So yeah, anyway, that was that one. Yeah, you guys have any questions about that one?
Yeah, I like when I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I happen to like when you show your games because I know like exactly what you're thinking and like why. And
Right,
like, you know, like so that's very useful.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I try not to do too much because like I know some people are like, I'm gonna write a book and I'm only gonna show my games, you know. So
No, I know that like
that's
you
just
don't
like
you can even
Alekhine
show
and, you know,
losses. I mean, like
Alekhine.
it's just like, you know, like when you have a teacher that's showing like wins and losses, even like it's just like you
Oh
know,
yeah,
like,
yeah. No, that's
yeah,
good too. Yeah, show some instructive losses too.
yeah,
But even here, like even though I won, like there were some moments, you know, that could have gone better. But yeah, it's interesting though. This really uncorked the. I was thinking, you know, well, bishop f4 would have been good too. With the same idea though. It was good enough just to do there and take e5. But this actually ended up being an additional motif. And then I go here, then I have everything I want. And then there are many ways to basically to win. So okay, let me show you at least one more.
Okay.
Which one do you guys want to see? So Alekhine's gone. Again, I can show you quick motifs, but we'll try to. Alekhine's gone. Yeah, why don't I just show you each motif? How about that?
Okay.
Okay,
So I'm
Alekhine.
just gonna go to the position. What's that, Lynn?
No, I was saying Alekhine sounds good.
Yeah, you gotta know
Yeah.
this one. But you see what happens in French is very similar to an Alpha Zero win in the French against Stockfish. Well, I mean, it's just like dot crushing against Nimzovich.
I don't want to see the French get fried. So
Yeah, that's if you know he doesn't understand it as well. I mean, obviously Nimzovich knew the French, but he just got outplayed. So he squeezes him here, but now he's not. We'll see. The thing is, Nimzovich closed the king side. So like, okay, fine, I have a queen side attack though. And then there's pressure here. He's like, okay, let's triple up. Now he's like came up with this conception. So I guess if he had seen it, no, we couldn't go rook c3 though, because knight would take. But he was able to orchestrate it somehow. Let's see where he orchestrated it. No, because there was a pin on. Well, first of all, there's a pin on b5. Now there's a pin on c7. Gives us a moment to do this. Still a pin, so we can not worry about him taking our b pawn. I mean, for what it's worth. So there's your queenside attack, basically. Yeah, it's a queenside attack. You know, he pushed his b and a pawn, squeezed him, tripled on the file, and ultimately he's gonna go b5.
Yeah.
He's gonna go b5 because it's disgusting. Yeah, it's just too much.
Oh God.
No, he goes, okay, he throws the b pawn, then he just has to go back again. Same thing.
Yeah.
But by the time you go king e8, what's the line? Oh, you get a zugzwang. That's amazing. Yeah, you get a zugzwang. So let's say he goes like this, and then you can do. You can probably do this, can't you? Look at this. Okay, great. Just take the queen. Yeah. But actually, that's a little bit murkier. But yeah, whatever. But it's saying you can also go knight g5 because you hit e6. Let's see. Let's say you did okay here. Check. Okay, what does it want? Oh, we lure it away. Yeah, that's good enough for me. Okay. Anyway, it's totally crushing. So there's the C file breakthrough. You guys have any questions about that? Pretty straightforward. But he locks up the A file. But the thing is, interestingly, he gets rid of the bad bishop, but he has the foresight. You know, black might have held on, but for this exchange, understanding how strong that is to you know, let him get rid of the bad bishop, but whatever. The board doesn't know that the bishop used to exist. The only thing the board knows, like I said, right, the gods of chess, the only thing it knows is what's in front of it. So it's like you can't get too fixated. Yeah, it was an awful bishop, but it did guard light squares. We get to squeeze him on light squares, and that enables the whole attack on light squares, right? I mean,
how many moves did this game entail?
Well, once you get, let's see, right now we are on move. It was 30. We're on move 27.
Oh, okay. Uday, you going to sleep?
Is that not what?
I think Uday dozed off.
Yeah, it's pretty late. Well, if you have to go, Uday, no problem. But I'm just gonna, okay, there's that one. And then there's the dragon's tail one. So again, we have the Sicilian structure. I don't need to show the whole opening, but you know, Now it's very interesting though, in terms of move order. Something that, one of the reasons I think people don't like the closed Sicilian much for white is because black has this early rook b8. So naturally in closed Sicilian, you want to do a dragon because you're going to put a lot of pressure on this diagonal dark square without having to worry about a quick attack. It's like kind of lame for white to think that they're going to mate because they haven't been bold to castle queenside and go for it, as we talked about earlier. So yeah, just going to throw the b pawn at them. You do this now usually because of, you can go b4 too, but you want to stop d4 in some cases. But you got the dragon tail hitting them, right? Strike them with that dragon tail.
I love that. I never heard the dragon tail. I've heard there's a dragon in the head, but I didn't.
I just call it that. It looks like a tail, right? Well,
It's perfect.
This is the fire breathing dragon.
Yes, the fire.
And
That I've
this is,
heard,
that's
but
the fire.
not the tail.
Well, this complements, I mean, you could say
Awesome.
these are the ridges, but this complements the bishop, but it's also like you're hitting them. At least on this part, you're kind of whipping them with your tail, right? So,
And what was the other one you called it? The space, what was it? The spaceship? Wait,
oh, the
the-
flying saucer.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, just kind of different ways of conceptualizing it.
Yeah, that's great.
But so we have yeah, whatever works for you. So we have yeah, now we're just gonna go. So look, space gainer kicks the knight out of place.
Dragon tail.
Now you gain space for your bishop to come out and hit the d pawn. You want him to play c4, it will give you more access to d4. Okay, here we go. He plays c4, that opens up the diagonal more. Okay, now he goes b. Now this is an example where we're squeezing him, but look, now he has a permanent target on b2 and he's cramped. But this is where it's kind of cool, where white's going to do his attack. We're going to deal with his attack. And Udastin's very strong GM too. Gelfand's strong, but they're both very strong. I think they're both, well, I know Gelfand's Israeli. I'm not sure about Udastin. He's like Orthodox Jew. So I've seen him in the World Open. But after rook c8. Okay. So, but yeah, he's against a strong player, but he just kind of toys with him. It's crazy. But so basically he's like, go ahead. It's like Fischer, go ahead and attack me. But I'm going to handle this like cold-blooded play. But once you handle this, you're going to win on the queen side base. Or, well, you kind of, because your position's so good, he feels the need to do something, right? Once you handle it, and I'm not even going to let the computer go. Well, it's going to get messy. We don't need to let the computer about it. Okay. But let's just go here. Okay, this is pinned. So you let him throw all this stuff at you. You hold the G pawn. But again, he knows he's doing really well in the endgame. Any endgame looks great. So let's just hold him off. Let's trade down some pieces. But it's going to get very ugly. Okay, he's letting him know you still can't take. You only trade queens, you'll get the pawn back. Okay. Now he's trying to attack on the H file. Okay. Yeah, this is still great. As long as the attack doesn't work, check this out. So he's going for a sack. Check, takes.
Wow.
He's letting him, so he lets him break through because he's yeah, that's cold-blooded. But he's confident enough. Like, you know what? I can let that happen. I've calculated. Look, I'm hitting your queen. You go rook h7, I go, ooh. I go back one.
What? Oh God.
Because this is typical in a dragon, though. The bishop covers h8.
I see.
Now, if the knight moves, you take h7. Queen's ready to help. The bishop's ready to help. The rook can lift. It's crazy. But but that's the thing. You egg him on. But then at the end of the day, watch probably our queen side will help. But the point is, this is an example of attacking the queen side and defending, like in an English. A lot of times in English, like I said, you have to deal with king side attacks. But you one is you gain concessions on the queen side for long-term concessions. You might invade on d5 as we invade, or d4, d5 in English, d4 here reversed. So you gain concessions. At the same time, if they want anything, they have to attack you. So you have to be a good defender. You either counterattack or you just fearless. But that gives you more because now white felt it's like I got to do something, right? He's gonna. But then look at the result after this ends. Wait, what? He can take here as well. It's crazy. It's like brilliant defense. Wait. What is going on? It's similar to what happened, actually. No, wait. No, you take the queen. He takes with check. You did, my bad. Yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
the problem. The queen's hanging, so he can't do a discovered check. So what he did in the game, he just takes it. And the queen moves, and he wants to mate. This is a typical defense. You just move your rook up. It's guarded. And now he checks, you just moved, he resigned because it doesn't do anything. You
Wow.
take, okay, we just give the exchange back, so what? You're up a rook and a bishop, it's
Wow.
awesome, huh?
Yeah, that's
But, now,
something.
you have to see the next game because it's so bizarre. Like I
Okay.
said, now this is awesome. Well, he's playing against a weaker player. Georgiev is very strong. Still like a 2,500.
I think I
So
see
same
this
thing.
guy on chess.com as Kirill, dude. Maybe it's a different Kirill. Kirill's
I've seen him in the World Open. He's
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I see some of these top guys. I've seen them in the World Open throughout like high school and stuff. You see the vets there in the World Open, right? Trying to win their 20K or split it with some GM draws.
Yeah, like
Now it's interesting. He's probing on. Look at this. Now he's probing on the kingside too. He's not afraid of him. Okay, we've gained our queenside space though. Strike there. There's your tail. So now we're using, rather than getting a wedge, as we saw in the first game, you can push to B3 and get the wedge, or you can open lines or. We saw two different lines in the Reshevsky game like that, right? So we're gonna blitz through in a few. We'll end at 2. We'll blitz through, right? But look, just to give you a sense, this is so ugly. Ugly. It's so ugly. It's beautiful, right? Look at this pawn
yeah,
structure.
these pawns look pretty horrible.
It gets even worse. It gets even worse. Look at this.
Oh my God, what? You're saying
Look
black
at
won this?
Yeah, he's just fearless. Look.
What?
Well, he has, but here's the thing: he's invading his winning material. He's threatening. The knight.
Yeah, okay.
No, he has reasons. Okay, just castle. He's not afraid. Look at that.
Wow.
Well, you have one. You have to find this nice. It's very straightforward, actually. Very nice defensive move. I'm curious. Okay, I want to see the computer evaluation. Is it work? Is it really winning? It says black's up a point. So you have to find this. Oh, did you see the arrow that it gave?
I did. And I was thinking that, I swear. I was thinking queen e6.
Yeah, because I mean, if your queen's going to come in here, you only do that knowing that it can, that's actually an avenue by which it can work geometrically to come back. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, I like that. Like it was like, like even if she takes, wait, can she take that pawn? No, I don't think she can.
No, you just go queen g6 though. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, okay.
You just go queen g6 whenever you want. But he has better things in mind. Yeah, but that's the thing. The attack is sort of, I mean, I guess he didn't do it right away because he like move and go knight f4 or something, but he doesn't need to yet. Because I mean, no, you can't move the knight. You just take the rooks. He doesn't need to. He's not doing anything, right? You want to go queen g5, I block, and black is going to be up what? Well, at the end of the day, black's up a pawn. But
yeah, but
hey, that's that extra pawn he worked for. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like a pawn. Well, like let's say he trades and he ends up going takes, because you can't take with the pawns. But then if you try to take this, then he has a fork here. If you trade queens. So yeah, end game looks good. Okay, let's go here though. Let's apply more pressure on the file. Why not? Let's take more stuff.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
This is such a cool. Well, he gets 2 rooks for the queen.
I know, but I never want to do that. But I know that like if the position warrants it, you're supposed to do it. But it's real hard to give
It
up.
says black. Okay, now it says that black is a tad. But
Leah, you gotta play with courage, honey.
I
yes.
know. You're right.
Well, think of it like this.
Right,
We got really nothing to lose. Yeah, I mean, it's do or die. No, it's all or nothing. I mean, why are you playing, right? You play to have fun, to be courageous, and have those brilliant wins to defy what you thought was possible. Right?
Yes.
And for yourself. Now, like it's possible on the board. There's that objectivity of it, but also in terms of what you think you could do, what your limits are, what your fears are. So it's good practice for doing that. Okay, check this out. This is such a cool finish, though. This should be a more famous game. I don't know. It's a weird game. But what I did is so I knew some of the other ones, and I'm like, you know what? Obviously, dragons feature queenside attacks, and obviously, I should have got it open. I'll put an open one in probably, and obviously, banco gambits too. Those are more open line types of attacks. Check this out. Oh, we just sacked his. He sacks the exchange.
Huh.
Look at the king though.
Aye.
Resigns.
Wow.
Bishop g2 mate.
Bishop g2.
Wow.
Bishop g2 mate. Oh my God.
I think no. You know what? You just play f4. I think because if you're gonna check and you let him out, he can't get it. Wait, he goes here. Uh-oh. Mate. Yeah, I think either f4. What was the other option? I saw something else too. I think when I was looking at it. No, I think just f4. I think f4 works. Game over. That's amazing, right?
That's
not a pattern you usually see.
game.
because you figure you can get out, but you just can't. Really cool idea, right? So there's that. And then, okay, mop up queenside. Now here's mop up queenside through tactic. Now here's Gelfand on a losing side. Very tactical. Well, it's kind of like, it's just like it's like, technically it is through the queenside though. It's across the board. There's a banco, right? You go B5 and A6. So he sacks the knight, pseudo sack is against this, and he gets the rook. Bishop D2, you take the bishop. It's very cutthroat line. I don't know if it's like Book or Magnus probably just found it. It's like back in 2014 or 2011 or something. So what? No, I think it was 2011 when he was younger. May have been 24. No, one was 2014, one was 2011. So precise though. Check this out. He almost gets his queen trapped.
Yeah,
So
I
he's
was
up.
gonna say like, yeah.
He's up in exchange, right? And he's winning a bunch of pawns. And there's no, if he tries to mate, you just go F6. Typical way to handle if you've lost the bishop, just go F6. You've given up to win the exchange or whatever. Okay, look, he almost traps he's almost going to trap his, whenever starting G6, he stops that. Typical finish structure. He closes this off. He sacks it. Now he hits the bishop. Now they're both hanging. Yeah, it's just a tactic. He just fell for this. Then he has to consolidate, trades queens. Well, he's up in exchange still. He sacks it back.
To mess
Now
up the
he's up.
pawns.
Now he's up one pawn. He's up
Uh-huh.
one pawn, but he has a better pawn structure too.
Okay.
And then he resigned.
Wow. Oh, don't growl, Rena.
No. What am I thinking? He's up a piece. Yeah, I forgot. My bad. Shh. Yeah. I was like, wait, is he going to resign if he's up a pawn? No, I forgot. Yeah. Because he's still, no, because once he got the exchange and he got the, yeah, he's up with it.
Oh,
But then
okay.
he sacks the rook back. But I like this technique. You let him take E7, fine. You sack the exchange back. You're like, look, I could be up a rook. I don't need to be up a rook. Oh, by the way, he has the rook check. You don't want to walk in there. So when he sacks it, he has king F8. Kind of like we looked at these crazy defenses, but there's nothing left. And then now that he ruins the structure. And by the way, we don't need all this knight G5 stuff. It's some dangerous stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
Knight
really
G5, maybe a check and mate coming. We don't know. So yeah, just take it, bring it out, just up a piece. And then like look at fade or knight B4. Okay, you can attack this. But yeah, it's maybe you can just shove your pawn down the board soon enough. So yeah, it's good.
Looks like a good plan.
Yeah. Or you can also you can always get this pawn too, like pile up on it and pile up on this one and win this pawn, try to come around, mate him. Yeah, it's good stuff. So there's that one. And then final one, we're gonna get through all of them.
Okay.
The power of the banco. So that was mop up. That was like very tactical by how you can use the banco. So it was the bishop on G7, but that wouldn't have been possible were it not for also the queenside play. So it's like coalescing, right? It's intersection of the pieces through the queenside and kingside and center.
Yeah.
So again, you learn the main lesson is that, well, just remember, it's not just about the queenside. It teaches you how to look at the board holistically, 360.
Yes. That's very helpful because like a lot of times, like you said, like the tunnel vision. Like
yeah, it's very good for
avoiding king side, but always looking on both sides, like kind of fluid. Like
And also think of it in terms of space. You're gaining space. You play bishop A6, you play queen A5. So you use that space either to go directly at the queen side, maybe to go through the queen side to attack laterally, or just to sort of attack diagonally, or laterally before you get to B7 or whatever, or B7 in the first game by Reshevsky. Instead, he can go to B5 and then attack laterally. He can go to B6 and attack F6 as Uday said, F5, F6 pawn with the rook supporting on F. So we end up getting a kingside attack looking through the center for B6. It's cool, right? It's just amazing. That's chess. That's chess for you, right? It's fascinating. Endless complications. I mean, those types of positions are so difficult to assess correctly,
And David, a lot of times when they do the queen side attack, they generally do swing back across the board because I think the queen side attack is to kind of throw them off,
It can be
sort of deceptive for them.
Right. It's like some guerrilla warfare.
Like a juking move or something like a going this way.
Oh, what else we saying there? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was just saying like you go this way, but then you're going that way. Like I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, left right hook. There's a game by Capablanca called left right hook. And then, are you saying something else then?
No.
But yeah. So it's kind of like guerrilla warfare, a little trickery going on. So what we call subterfuge or whatever, and stealthy maneuvers. But yeah, it could be that swinging, or sometimes it is just as I'm showing you different versions of it. Sometimes it is simply just, I don't even know if there is a version like that. What kind of, yeah, sometimes it is just breakthrough, get a pass. Actually, my game ended up being a passed pawn on that one. But that's the thing, you have it there. It's kind of like the Gelfand game. I think the Georgiev game. Gelfand had these pawns like this. It's like, well, he didn't end up using them, but they were there, right?
Oh,
You might
the
have a
thorn
pawn.
game? Is that the
Yeah, like you had a
game?
thorn in
Yeah,
there. Yeah, the
yeah.
ones with a thorn. You have a thorn there. So that could be the winning asset. But you have the asset and then you just hold off his attack. You end up winning because he gave you too much material, because he was kind of desperate. He's like, hey, if this doesn't work, I'm losing the end game. As pieces are ultimately going to trade it off. You're going to blast with D5, pieces come in, and yeah, you will ultimately face each other, trade off and whatnot. And then you win the end game, most likely. Okay, so check this out. Another banco. Okay, so it becomes like a Benoni, like in my game, right? Remember the structure reversed? Same thing, right? Got this, got B5 in. Remember the structure? It was like this with white. Remember the pawns like this?
Yes.
And then I played B4. He's already played. It's just reverse move order, reverse sides. So this is a Stribuk or something. Okay, Stribuk. Okay, so he's giving him the D pawn, but he's going to take the D pawn himself. So he holds the D pawn, hits it again. So he's like, I'm going to work through. You get mine, I get yours. He doesn't want to do that. Oh, by the way, it doesn't really matter because you'll just do this is fine. You'll get the two pieces for the rook, but then you're going to get the pawn back anyway. So you don't even have to give a pawn. You're going to get this back easily. So yeah, he's not going to take. Okay. Then he hits it again. So again, using the queenside lines to attack the center. Beautiful.
Yes.
And beyond, if you break through. And look at that. Now you get it. So again, we're still working the queenside though. We have a beautiful knight staying on B4 outpost. Now we have the diagonal ready to rip open.
I'm sorry, I know that you're trying to rush through and we've been here forever, but like, why wouldn't he just attack the knight like with A3? Did I miss something? Like, why wouldn't he just try to kick off?
Oh, because he's going to take D5 anyway.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So what he's trying to do is he's trying to at least get that pawn going, and
Okay.
maybe plant a piece on B5, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, he's going to take anyway.
Got it.
So at least like, hey, I got to pass pawn, but often that doesn't matter. Play
Yeah.
A4, B3. You have so much queenside play. Usually
Yeah.
I think of it as the two lines though. But here again, these games are just, it's kind of fortuitously, I found these games when I was looking at the Banco and the Dragon, where they're really just, again, you see what's going on the queen side. That's nice, but we're getting so much more. Okay, check back to this point. Now we're up. No, we're not even up a pawn. It feels like we are, but we have a really nice position now. Huge center. Boom. There's your B file attack. But we've gained more center. Lateral attack. Exchange sack. Giving us the D4 square. Hitting F3, and that's just winning.
Ouch.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
I think it was
There's
actually
like
this was a
800
title
forks there.
Tuesday. This was actually a title Tuesday blitz game, 3+2. It doesn't matter though. It doesn't matter. This is a GM, I get, or an IM, and he's like probably a GM. And he's just like, he understands the position. He's 3 minutes is an eternity, right? 2 second increment. Hey, I had a 30 second increment was an eternity in my game. This is only 2 seconds. But yeah, the point is the concept. He knows the concepts, but he finds some cool ideas. His opponent's thinking, he's like, oh, well, the D pawn's weak. Why don't I want to take back I saw that idea. Like, you just helped me. It's like, oh, okay, I know the pattern. Let's attack it like perfect. I love to do bishop B7 queen. That's a ready system pattern. And then he just blunders, but he's already lost. No, here's the problem. You're going to take F3 anyway. And then it's just bad. Computer eval.
Really
No, computer evaluation says equal, funny enough. But still, I don't mind. Well, okay, he has a great position. I don't mind having this position. You might have messed it up somewhere, but the point is great play. Really great play.
Yeah.
Queenside player leading center. And in most cases, that should be winning. In this case, it forked. But yeah. Okay, cool. I got to run, but
okay, thank you so much, David and Lynn. I love seeing you.
Thank you, David. Goodbye, Ms. Chess. I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
David, check
thank you guys for coming and supporting. Sorry, what's that?
I sent you a direct message.
Oh, I saw that. Thank you.
Okay, all right. See you next week.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Good rest of
Bye,
your weekend.
guys.
Bye.